Welcome! This is MCG Tech with the ultra budget gaming PC under $40. I would like to start off by saying, compared to the $90 computer which I built in the past, this computer has a lot of compromises, so I hope you guys understand this PC is not very powerful and can only handle older titles. Additionally, one of the things I was very excited to test was the integrated CPU. But without further ado, let's take a look at this computer's specifications. I was able to pick this integrated motherboard and CPU for a measly $5. Considering how I have never built a computer with an integrated CPU, I was very eager to try it. The motherboard model is the Acer D1F AD, which utilized the AMD E1 1200 APU. This APU has a TDP of 18 watts, dual cores, and a staggering clock speed of 1.4 GHz. If you guys want to see a build where I only use integrated components, let me know in the comment section below. Moving on to the graphics card, I will be using the NVIDIA Quadro FX 580, which I bought for $5. This card has 512 megabytes of GDDR3 RAM, as well as Microsoft DirectX 10 support. For RAM, I am using a single Sniper 4GB stick of 1600 speed DDR3, which I picked up for $15. For storage, I am using one 250GB Western Digital Blue hard drive, which I purchased for $3. And finally, I bought an old Antec case plus 350 watt power supply combo for $10. One problem I did have to deal with was the fact that the power supply had a 20-pin connector. That meant I had to buy a 20 to 24-pin adapter for $1 at a local store. I do have to admit, even though the cable management is terrible, I am quite a fan of the retro aesthetic. The total cost of all of these parts was only $39. Now that we have reviewed all of the components, it is time to sit back, relax, and enjoy the build montage. Once the build was completed, I started running into a bunch of problems. Originally, I could not get the FX 580 to display anything at all, but with the Quadro removed, I did get display output. After a couple of hours of troubleshooting, I could only get the computer to boot into a distribution of Linux called Voyager. That being said, I was able to get the FX 580 working and download some games. Sadly, I could not find an alternative to Fraps for Linux, so I had to do all of my testing without an FPS counter. I will do my best to describe gameplay as accurately as I can. The first game I tested was the original Counter-Strike. At a resolution of 1400 by 1050, this computer handled this game very well. Very occasionally there were some dropped frames, but it was still definitely a playable experience. Next I tested Counter-Strike Source. Running at a resolution of 1600 by 900, this game was very playable. Obviously, at this price point you shouldn't expect buttery smooth gameplay, so I was pleasantly surprised with this result, even though it was not perfect. Following Counter-Strike Source, I tested Codename Cure. At high settings and a resolution of 1600 by 900, this computer ran well. Of course, there was the occasional stutter, but for the most part, this was a playable and enjoyable experience. Finally, I tested Unturned. Sadly, this game was completely unplayable. Even after turning the resolution down to 640 by 480, the gameplay was still terrible. In conclusion, this computer build was a lot of fun. Even though I am sure you could build a better computer if you used a cheap pre-built as your base, I think it is a lot more fun to build a full custom PC. Additionally, it was very interesting dealing with an integrated motherboard and CPU. The power draw from this computer is also probably very low, so that is another thing to keep in mind for the budget focused. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Also feel free to check out the rest of the content on this channel. Thank you for watching.